Are you ready? The aloof, ascetic beauty stood in the entryway, looking at me. I nodded. All ready. Household registration booklet, marriage certificate, ID card. Our eyes met, and I could see the disdain in her eyes beneath her frameless glasses. Such a pity to waste such intellectual and exquisite beauty. Of course, her 168 centimeters plus C figure added a lot. Those long legs were longer than my life. Have you looked enough? A cool voice came. I quickly averted my gaze. It wasn't that I was a pervert. Anyone would be drawn to beautiful things. It's a pity today it's all ending. This year of marriage, we saw so little of each other. My wife, Fong Lan, is a young professor at a 985 university in the provincial capital. After graduation, she stayed on to teach while I went to work like a mule at a big tech company. Forget it. No need to think about it. Let's get divorced. Our home is on the 3rd floor. I'll just take the stairs. Just as I stepped onto the stairs, Yi Fan, my wife, Fong Lan's voice came from behind. I turned my head, and suddenly my foot slipped. My body flew forward, out of my control, accompanied by Fong Lan's scream. I tumbled down to the next landing with a series of thumps. My head spun for a while. I stood up and looked myself over. It didn't seem like there were any injuries. I picked up the fallen documents from the ground and looked at Fong Lan. She was walking towards me with a nervous expression, but because she was wearing high heels, she wasn't moving very fast. When Fong Lan saw that I was okay, her expression became serious. Why don't we go another day? I'll go to the hospital with you. I stretched my arms and legs. I should be okay, let's go. It's rare that we both have time. Who knows when we'll be free another time? Suddenly, a voice came from the depths of my mind. What should I do? My husband is still determined to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce. Does my husband not want me anymore? Who? I looked around. There was only Fong Lan and me at the stairwell, but I did hear a voice just now, and it sounded exactly like Fong Lan's voice. But that coquettish tone was completely opposite to her current cold demeanor. I shook my head. Looks like I damaged my brain from the fall. Let's go. Be careful on the stairs, I said to Fong Lan, and then continued down the stairs. What to do, what to do? My husband wants a divorce even though he's hurt. I stopped. This time I was certain I heard it. I turned my head and looked at Fong Lan. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. She seemed to be thinking about something. To test if I was hallucinating, I tentatively asked, if we get divorced, you won't quit your job, right? Fong Lan slightly frowned. No, you're overthinking it. No way. Everyone will definitely think that I have a problem. How am I supposed to stay at the school? The key point is that I don't want to divorce with my husband. What do I do? Why does my mouth always say hurtful things? Sob, that's right. I can now hear Fong Lan's inner thoughts. In the language of a power fantasy novel, it's called mind reading. If I had this mind reading ability earlier, this past year wouldn't have been filled with so many misunderstandings. I said I wanted a divorce out of spite, and Fong Lan agreed without hesitation. To verify whether I could hear everyone's inner voice, I walked to the security guard booth at the gate. I said to the security guard, Old Zhao, can you lend me 10,000 yuan? No way. Get lost kid, living in a big flat, and still asking me for money. I couldn't hear Old Zhao's inner thoughts. It seemed that this mind reading only works on my wife, Fong Lan. Are you short on money? Fong Lan came up from behind me. Crap. She heard me, but it didn't matter. I nodded and continued walking. Yeah, after the divorce, I can't live in this big house anymore. I'll have to move out. Fong Lan was stunned for a moment. She didn't say anything and continued walking with a cold face. Husband, don't leave me. I'll be scared sleeping alone at night. A fair-skinned, beautiful woman with long legs like me, once missed, will never be found again. Oh, on the surface, the two of us got in the car without saying a word, driving towards the Civil Affairs Bureau. Crap, almost to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I don't want a divorce. I want my husband to hug me. Hearing Fong Lan's inner thoughts, I turned my head to look at her. She was expressionless, looking out the car window, only leaving me her profile. I started a topic. After the divorce, it shouldn't affect you much, right? Fong Lan lightly snorted. What kind of effect could there be? Don't be narcissistic. Whoa. How can it not affect me? If I get divorced, I won't want to live anymore. I have to think, what's a decent way to die? Jumping off a building is too embarrassing. Hanging myself won't do either. I heard your tongue will stick out. That's right. Turning on the gas. I heard your face will remain rosy. Hearing Fong Lan's thoughts, I was so scared that I accidentally stepped on the brake. Are you a psycho? Can you even drive? Moron. A hot-tempered old driver passed me and cursed, and then stepped on the gas pedal and sped away. I released a brake and continued driving. That person is so annoying. It was clearly their fault for not maintaining a safe following distance. How can he blame others? I have already memoized his license plate. I'll report him later for insulting others and dangerous driving. Here ahead, we were approaching a red light intersection. Turning left and going straight for about a kilometer would get us to the Civil Affairs Bureau. We were about 20 meters from the intersection, and the green light had about 5 seconds left. I gradually slowed down for safety. It was better to wait for the next red light. However, this damned red light was 120 seconds. It was a bit of a joke. I should have just stepped on the gas pedal earlier. I should avoid this road. I'm not too familiar with the traffic lights here. Cough, cough. Fong Lan lightly coughed twice. I frowned. What's wrong? Do you have a cold? Fong Lan paused for 2 seconds, then nodded. A little. Why don't we go another day? Looking at Fong Lan's delicate face, completely devoid of any expression, I was wondering if her words were meant to be taken at face value or not. Great. Fong Lan, you finally said it. That's the way. We absolutely can't go to the Civil Affairs Bureau today. Husband, turn around. We're going home. No divorce. I heard that men love stockings. Is it because I usually wear pants that my husband doesn't like it? Then I'll go change into stockings after we get home. Should I change into black stockings, white stockings, renewed stockings? Black is too seductive. White is too shy. Maybe nude ones, then. Hearing Fong Lan's inner voice, I also did not want a divorce. Apart from Fong Lan being a little harsh with her words, lacking a little fun, and not doing any housework, she didn't seem to have any other flaws. I nodded. Okay, I'll search on the map. There's a pharmacy next to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I'll drive over there to buy some medicine. The light turned green, and I turned into a side road. I parked in a roadside parking spot in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau, bought cold medicine, Van Langen granules, and heat-clearing detox granules. I handed them to Fong Lan when I got in the car. She took them silently and placed them on her lap. I closed the car door and the car fell silent again. My husband still cares about me. I definitely can't divorce him. I've decided when I get home, I'll wear my spaghetti strap mini dress with flesh-colored stockings. I'll make lunch for my husband. I can at least wash the rice and put it in the rice cooker. Hearing Fong Lan's thoughts, I thought it was indeed almost lunchtime when we got back. There wasn't much food in the refrigerator. Wanna go to the market and buy some groceries? I suggested. Fong Lan nodded, then continued to look out the window. I saw the corners of her mouth twitch slightly, revealing a faint, imperceptible smile. That's great. My husband and I were thinking the same thing. Later he'll cook the dishes, I'll cook the rice, and then when he's cooking, I'll hug him from behind. And then, what should I do next? I'll search it up. After hearing my wife's thoughts, she took out her phone, shielding the screen so I couldn't see it. Then she started searching for something. I started the car, slowly heading towards home. There was a large supermarket at the entrance of the residential area that had everything. Okay, this says to wear a very short apron with stockings and maybe small heels, and then pretend to drop something squatting down to pick it up with my legs together. This barely revealing temptation is irresistible to all male creatures. Also, casually flicking my hair near my ear, this is powerful. Like and save. When eating, pretend to accidentally drop the chopsticks or spoon, making my husband pick it up. Men will instinctively look under the table. Oh, that's too naughty. It was good I was sitting in the car. If I was walking, Just imagining that scene would probably make me blush. If my cold, beautiful wife really did all that the internet said, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to control myself. The whole way, Fong Lan repeatedly called me husband in her mind, humming a song. This was completely different from the cold, aloof beauty professor I knew in college. If others knew that I'd only had a handful of times in bed with such a cold beauty professor, they would probably think I had erectile dysfunction. It was just that whenever I was facing that expressionless face, even if I got aroused, it felt like doing it with a doll. Every time I had the urge, I would ask her and she would just lie on the bed non-committal. It made me feel like I couldn't go either way. What if she sued me for marital rape? Then I would have to go in and use the sewing machine. Later, because I often worked overtime and was afraid of disturbing her when I came home, I started sleeping in the guest room. Over time, we ended up sleeping in separate rooms. Also, her period lasted 8 or 9 days. Several times when I got in the mood, she just happened to be. When we got home, Fong Lan went straight back to her room without saying a word. Normally, I would have thought that she hated being with me and wanted to leave me as soon as possible, but hearing her thoughts right now, it felt so comforting. He watched me put on my mini skirt and stockings and charm my husband. Later I will naturally walk into my husband's view, captivating his gaze. It's so annoying. Why does my husband like ice-cold beauties? Watching Fong Eun silently head toward the bedroom. Wait, when did I ever say that I liked ice-cold beauties? Who made up that rumor? They should be held legally responsible. I walked toward the kitchen with a bit of anticipation. Preparing today's lunch. I had finally taken a day off. Should I find something to do this afternoon? Ring, ring, ring. My phone rang. I looked. It was a call from my company supervisor. I quickly answered it. Hello, manager. Sure, you said that you had some things to take care of at home when you took the day off. How did that go? The manager's concerned voice came from the other end. There is no smoke without fire, so he must want something. But right now, it didn't seem like there was anything particular I had to do at home. I quickly responded. I'm almost done, manager. Is there something you need? That's good. It's like this about the Network Information Support System construction project for the World Trade Center you were in charge of. There are a few areas where the client wants to have a detailed discussion with us. You are the most familiar with the project. Would it be possible for you to go this afternoon? After the manager explained it in detail, I understood that there was no way to avoid this. But it was part of my job scope, and with the promise of a bonus, I agreed immediately. I made a tomato and beef brisket stew and stir-fried lettuce for my wife. I walked to the bedroom door, hesitated for a moment, and then still didn't push the door open. Honey, I have some work to attend to. I need to go to the company. I've made lunch for you. Okay, my wife answered softly. Looking through the half-closed door, my wife really had changed into the miniskirt and stockings that she had mentioned in her thoughts earlier. Oh my God, I need to leave quickly. If I don't leave, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake. After that, as I expected, Fong Lan started to whine again. Oh, I just prepared the sexy apron and stockings. Also, I wanted to have a candlelight dinner with my husband. I even prepared the candles. No, I need to be a good wife and mother. I must support my husband when he goes to work and I can't ask too much when my husband goes out to have fun. If my husband ignores me, I will be angry for 3 minutes. Then I need to coax my husband. I didn't know how to read the room in the past and didn't fulfill the responsibility of a qualified wife. That is why my husband wants to divorce me. Yes, that must be it. Hearing her thoughts, my mood went up and down. So, my wife actually likes me this much? Then why is she always giving me the cold shoulder usually and never answering when I ask her something? Was there some kind of misunderstanding? Thinking of this, I thought, maybe I shouldn't get divorced after all. After all, someone like me, a straight IT guy, can find a university beauty professor for a wife. It is not an exaggeration to say it is a blessing that I have smoke coming out of my ancestors' tomb at least 3 meters high. And as everyone knows, the honeymoon of an IT worker is short. When I reach 35 to 40 years old, if I am not promoted to a management position, I am very likely to be optimized. If I get divorced at that time, Finding another partner would be either someone who had been divorced or someone who could not marry out. No, the more I imagine, the more terrifying it gets. I need to secure my job. So I rushed to the company to gather the documents. Then I went to the client's company to discuss the details and understand their needs. In the end, unable to refuse, I had to have a meal with them, drinking half a liter of white wine. When I got home, I couldn't stand the smell of alcohol on myself. I quickly took a hot shower. I changed my clothes and laid down on the bed in the guest bedroom. Recalling what happened this morning, it felt like a dream. Could what happened during the day really have been me dreaming? A daydream? Otherwise, why hasn't my wife come to find me since I got back? Well, I'll go find her myself. After all, this divorce thing still needs to be settled. Not clarifying this issue is like having a bug that hasn't been fixed. It makes me feel uneasy all over. Besides, regarding what happened during the day, I'm still a bit expectant. I stood up, preparing to go find my wife. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. I said directly, "The door's not locked." Then, with a click, the door to the spare bedroom was pushed open. Fong Lan's head peeked in first. Her jet black, elegant long hair was currently twisted into a bun. Her fiery red lips were very striking. Had she put on lipstick? Under her long eyelashes, her eyes as big as copper bells seemed to speak. A hint of grievance was contained within, making her truly pitiful. She was wearing something different from the sleeveless short dress she mentioned in her inner thoughts earlier today. She had on a long-sleeve pink sweater on top and a checkered short skirt on the bottom with flesh-colored stockings on her slender legs. From my professional perspective, they should be ADD Balenciaga. She wasn't wearing high heels on her feet, just cotton slippers. Without the visual impact of high heels, there was a different kind of charm to her. After looking for a few seconds, I quickly shifted my gaze. If I looked any longer, I might make a mistake. I licked my lips, scratching the back of my head, and asked, "What's wrong?" Fong Lan was fidgeting with her hands on either side of her skirt, seeming a bit embarrassed. "I think I have a cold. I'm a little cold. Can I come in your bed to warm up?" I was dumbfounded by her words. Before I could think of how to respond, I saw Fong Lan looking at me pitifully. "Husband, quickly agree. If you reject me, I'll cry for you to see. Then, I'll find the neighbors to judge me." Saying my husband won't let me into his bed. The little devil in my head kept urging me to quickly agree to her. Once she's in my bed, what happens next is beyond her control. After all, Teacher Luo said that if a girl voluntarily enters a room with a guy, then you can't accuse me of rape afterwards. After a fierce struggle, I asked with concern, "If you still don't feel well, how about I take you to the hospital next door to get checked?" Hearing this, Fong Lan's face visibly started to turn red. Did she have a fever? Unconsciously, I reached out and touched her forehead. It did feel a little hot. I was about to lose control of myself. I quickly stood up. "It's a bit hot. I'll go get a thermometer." With that, I walked to the living room in my slippers. Thanks to the preparations I made during the mass period, there were mercury and infrared thermometers at home. I inexplicably picked up the mercury thermometer and walked to the spare bedroom. Suddenly, I noticed that Fong Lan had already gotten into bed herself. She was even shyly using my blanket to cover her face, only revealing two big eyes that were rolling as they turned towards me as I came in. My husband's bed is so warm and it smells so good. It smells really good. I really want to lie with my husband every day. I shook the thermometer and looked at Fong Lan. "Come on, let's take your temperature." Fong Lan nodded, pulled down the blanket, and then didn't move. "What's going on? You take the thermometer and put it in your armpit yourself." The two of us just stared at each other for a few seconds. Fong Lan's inner thoughts came again. What's going on? Why isn't my husband putting the thermometer in my armpit? Could it be that it's inconvenient because I'm wearing too many clothes? Then I'll take off my sweater. Thinking this, Fong Lan sat up and took off her sweater. She was only left with a short-sleeve thin pajama top. A fleeting glimpse? My nose felt a little itchy. Was I gonna get a nosebleed soon? Seeing that Fong Lan wasn't moving, she probably wanted me to take her temperature for her. Why isn't my husband coming over yet? I've already taken off my sweater. Does he want me to take it all off? That's too embarrassing. Now, if this continues, Von Ellen might really do something. I nailed on bed. Come on, lift your arm a little. I placed a thermometer in Fong Lan's armpit. Then I also got into bed. At this time, Fong Lan's inner voice was constantly coming like a repeat machine. I didn't know what she was thinking in her head. All sorts of strange ideas, proactive seduction, etc. Flashby. It made it a little hard for me to hear clearly. Husband, can you rub my tummy? Fong Lan suddenly said coquettishly. This was the first time I had really heard her speak in such a tone. I didn't know she was thinking too much and too complicated, but she had blurted out everything she was thinking in her head. The most terrifying thing was the sudden silence. The two of us just stared at each other. Time seemed to freeze, except for Fong Lan's fair earlobes, turning red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Oh no, how did I end up saying what I was thinking? What should I do? What should I do? Never mind, I already said it. So be it, it's up to my husband to decide what to do. At this time I couldn't refuse my wife's request, could I? I rubbed my hands together and slowly started rubbing Fong Lan's stomach. It was a little cold. No wonder they say women are cold-bodied. Fong Lan's face was getting redder and redder. She bit her lip and didn't speak. A few minutes later, I took out the thermometer and checked it. 37. 2 degrees Celsius. You shouldn't have a fever. Just drink more hot water. Fong Lan didn't say anything, but her inner voice betrayed her. I'm a water buffalo, drinking hot water every day. I need my husband's care. A little bewildered, I awkwardly said, then I'll go pour you some hot water. No, Fong Lan, you've come this far. You can't give up halfway. It's now or never. If you don't do it, your husband will divorce you. Go for it. I'd just gotten up when Fong Lan reached out and grabbed me. Not yet steady, I fell back down. Our face is now less than 5 centimeters apart. My husband is so warm. My life has been like walking on thin ice. Do you think I can reach the other side? No, what am I thinking? I've been teaching and doing good deeds all my life. Indulging in a bit of male beauty isn't too much, right? With that thought, Fong Lan kissed me directly. My mind short-circuited instantly. Feeling each other's breath, I hesitated whether to take the initiative. Fong Lan quickly backed away and sat up, pulling the blanket up to cover her chest. Crap, judging by this, she wouldn't really accuse me of rape, would she? It would be one thing if it was someone else, but my wife is such a cool and beautiful professor. And what's worse, she teaches criminal law. If she says I committed marital rape, even I would believe it, let alone a judge. Looks are justice. That's what they call beauty has its reasons. I've even thought of my prison uniform number, 9587. Fong Lan tightly gripped a corner of the blanket, looking at me pitifully. I'm sorry, I accidentally kissed you. Watching Fong Lan shake her head like a rattle drum, her body also kept retreating. She was about to fall off the bed. I quickly crawled over, ready to grab her shoulders. Unexpectedly, her silk pajamas were too slippery. I didn't catch her. In a panic, I reached out and hugged Fong Lan's waist. She froze instantly, staring at me with a surprised look, her body stiffening, then shrinking back. Thinking she was angry, I quickly helped her sit up properly. It used to be like this. If I accidentally touched her back or waist, her whole body would stiffen. Then she would look at me with a surprised expression. I thought maybe she felt I was too abrupt, so I quickly withdrew my hand. After a few times, I knew she didn't like me touching her. Sorry, I was afraid you would fall. I didn't mean to touch your back. I quickly apologized. I didn't want to end up sewing in jail at such a young age. Fong Lan pursed her lips. It's not like that. I don't hate it. It's just a conditioned response. My back is very sensitive. Even when my best friend touches me, I stiffen up. Oh no, I'm so embarrassed. I dare not speak. I'm afraid that if I speak, I'll expose my true nature. Boo-hoo. Fong Lan didn't speak at that moment, just shook her head in denial. Before, I would have just thought she didn't want to talk to me, and that's why she wasn't speaking. With a rustling sound, Fong Lan nestled into the blanket. Seeing this, I couldn't pretend to be aloof and go sleep on the sofa. I nervously pulled up the blanket, keeping about a dozen centimeters distance from Fong Lan. I was thinking that next would be a fiery, passionate affair, but unexpectedly, after a while, I heard Fong Lan's soft, even breathing. Turning my head, I saw that Fong Lan had fallen asleep. Wasn't she still excited a moment ago? How could she fall asleep just a few minutes later? Oh, well, I'm not the kind of person who would wake her up from my own selfish desires. Most importantly, if I woke her up, she'd send me to jail in a fit of rage, and that would be the end for me. I barely got through the cold winter night. When I woke up and reached out, the spot beside me was already empty. Fang Lan had already gone to work. That's right, classes at the school start at 8 o'clock and it takes half an hour to drive there, plus she has a habit of arriving early. She should have left around 7 o'clock. As for me, I start work at 9 o'clock. And since I'm close to the company, I can leave at 8:30. I'll buy breakfast on the way and I'll be at the company on time at 9 o'clock. I was eating in the company cafeteria with a few of my good buddies. Beep, beep, beep. A WeChat video call notification sound rang. I quickly put down the chicken leg in my hand. I took out my phone and looked. It was actually my ice queen wife, Fong Ellen. It really was like the first time a girl got on a sedan chair. My buddies Little Fatty and Rain God instantly crowded around me. Looking at the note on the phone screen, they read out loud in unison. Ice Queen School Beauty Wife. Crap, I walk right into that one. But my wife really was a school beauty back then. Little Fatty clicked the accept button. Before I could even give him a smack, the WeChat video was already connected. Seeing the fair, fresh, elegant, and intellectual beauty that was my wife, Fong Lan, I didn't know how to start the conversation. I quickly moved to the side, but Little Fatty and Rain God were instantly familiar, even though they were stunned by my wife's beauty for a second. Still, they bowed together and shouted, "Hello, sister-in-law." A faint smile appeared on my wife's face. "Hello, everyone, is my husband there?" Pushed over by my two buddies, I scratched the back of my head and laughed awkwardly. What's up, wife?" Looking closely, my wife seemed to be in her school faculty office. Even with no makeup on, her beauty was still breathtaking. Maybe next time I can go to her office, and... I quickly shook my head to get rid of those inappropriate thoughts. "Husband, there's a high school reunion tonight. Would you accompany me?" My wife's words made me freeze for a moment. "It's your high school reunion. You can just go. I don't know anyone. It'd be awkward." My wife's eyebrows furrowed slightly, making my two buddies twist the fat on my waist hard. "Husband, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" Maybe my strange expression had my wife worried. I quickly waved my hand. No, you go and have fun. Don't drink too much and come home early. It's just that there are a lot of guys and I'm not comfortable. I want you to go with me." "Okay, sister-in-law, no problem Fan, my man. Doesn't have to work overtime today." Little Fatty moved his watermelon-sized face close and agreed for me. "Oh, well, whatever." So I nodded, agreeing. A rare happy smile appeared on my wife's face. I couldn't feel my wife's inner voice through the screen, but by the look of it, her happiness should be genuine. After dealing with my two buddies, it was soon time to get off work. I wore a plaid shirt, jeans, and just threw on a jacket, and then hailed a cab to my wife's location, the Intercontinental Hotel. The city's only 7-star hotel, my wife's high school classmates, seemed to be quite extraordinary. But that's right, they were in the rocket class at the city's #1 high school, and my wife said that 90% of them went to universities in the National C9 League. They should have achieved quite a bit after graduation. "Oh, well, it's not my class reunion. I'm just here to take care of my wife." When we arrived at the hotel, we were led by a hostess to the 360-degree panoramic restaurant on the top floor. Wow, this isn't something ordinary rich people can afford. As soon as we went in, there were already 7 or 8 people inside, only 2 girls, and they were all stunned to see me. One of the short-haired girls asked, "Hello, are you?" I quickly said, "My name is Yi Fan. I'm Fong Lan's husband." She asked me to come along. A well-dressed, bespectacled man with a refined air stood up and shook my hand. "Oh, so you're our school beauty's husband. It's true that seeing is believing. Hello, I'm Xiao Yiming. This hotel is my family's property. I shook his hand. It's a pleasure to meet you. Then I found a corner to sit in. I'm really not used to these kinds of gatherings with strangers. I wanted to be invisible, but I always felt like a few people were glancing at me intentionally or unintentionally. I received a WeChat message from my wife saying she'd be there soon. That made me feel a bit more at ease. Soon the door opened and my wife walked in wearing a shirt and work uniform skirt with a college-style coat draped over her shoulders, nude stockings and black high heels. She was putting on a direct display of OL uniform seduction. As soon as she entered, she attracted everyone's attention. Xiao Yiming, who had been talking and laughing with everyone, stood up immediately. Oh my, this is a once-in-a-thousand-years occasion. Our school beauty Fong is finally gracing us with her presence for a meal truly rare. My wife took off her coat, and Xiao Yiming reached out to take it. I stood in the corner, not knowing whether to go up or not. My wife bypassed Xiao Yiming, walked up to me, and handed me the coat. Put it with your jacket. Then, she straightened my collar. Look, you didn't even fix your collar. My icy wife's sudden transformation into a virtuous wife and mother left me disoriented. I stood there dumbfounded. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Xiao Yiming awkwardly retract his hand. She told everyone to take their seats. It turned out my wife was the last to arrive. Everyone found their seats. Only the host seat and one next to it, and the main accompanying seat opposite the host where the dishes were served, remained. Of course, I couldn't sit in the host seat, so I consciously sat in the main accompanying seat by the door. Xiao Yiming naturally sat in the host seat and patted the seat next to him. Lan, sit here. I found the sentence very jarring, but the others seemed to think it was normal, as if I was the outsider. Of course, I was an outsider compared to my wife's high school classmates present. My wife, Fang Lan, frowned. Why is Xiao Yiming so annoying? I want to sit with my husband. I've refused him so many times before, and he's still pulling this trick. Hearing my wife's inner voice, my mood calmed down a little. I saw my wife walk straight to Xiao Yiming's side. One eyebrow and the corner of his mouth were raised, looking confident that he would get his way. Then, my wife moved that chair, a bit laboriously, next to me. I only reacted when she was about to move it next to me, and I quickly got up to help move the chair. Xiao Yiming's eyes widened, and his mouth slightly opened. It looked rather ugly, but soon the dishes started to be served, and the atmosphere at the table became lively again. Everyone drank the first toast together. I hadn't even had a chance to use my chopsticks. Xiao Yiming looked at me and said, "Brother Yifan, where are you employed? This Xiao Yiming is so annoying. He's clearly trying to make things difficult for my husband. I won't come again next time he's hosting, but this time it's gonna be hard on my husband." Boo-hoo. I was a bit annoyed before, but hearing my wife's inner voice, it was clear that this Xiao guy was being a sore loser. I smiled and replied, "I wouldn't call it employment, I'm just an ordinary programmer at Tencent." "Oh, that's amazing. I heard the salary is quite high, around $30,000 or $40,000 a month," asked a man with a receding hairline next to Xiao Yiming. It seemed he was part of Xiao Yiming's clique. What was that called in the old days? Oh yes, a lackey. I couldn't be bothered with him and casually said, "It's okay, just enough to make ends meet." My wife sat silently beside me. She reached out and took my hand. This Xiao Sun isn't a good person either, always following behind Xiao Yiming. So, this guy with the receding hairline is called Xiao Sun. I saw Xiao Sun raise his glass. "Come on, brother Fan. I'll toast you one. I heard that many people in your industry get laid off at 35. If you have trouble finding work in the future, our manager Xiao Yiming here in the hotel's IT department can leave a position open for you." He turned to look at Xiao Yiming. "Right, brother Ming?" Xiao Yiming nodded. "We're all family." "Absolutely. I'll arrange it for you." Next, I didn't get to eat a single dish and everyone except my wife kept toasting me. It was like I was some big boss. It's true that it wasn't the alcohol that made me drunk, but the mean people. Luckily, my wife's inner voice kept talking, telling me the names of her classmates and all sorts of old stories. I heard it all. I was soon slightly tipsy, seeing my wife's frown deepen. I suspected she was going to blow up at any moment. At that moment, the waiter served a plate of king crab, but it was blue. I've never had king crab of this color, so I was about to pick up a piece and try it. At this moment, my wife pressed down on my hand and pulled me up, and she said to everyone, "My husband and I have something to do. We'll leave first." Then she put my coat in my hand, grabbed my other hand, and pushed me out the door. She didn't hesitate at all. I was completely dumbfounded. I haven't even had a chance to eat the blue king crab. I didn't know what expressions everyone behind us were making, but they probably weren't good ones. In the elevator, my wife's face was cold, making me afraid to ask her why she did that. But the elevator had 88 floors, so time passed slowly. I couldn't help but ask, "Honey, is it okay for us to leave so directly?" My wife snorted, "What's wrong with it? If they dare make things difficult for you, I'm never coming again." Thinking about the king crab just now, I realized that I hadn't eaten anything and neither had my wife. I looked at my wife, "How about we go out for dinner?" My wife nodded and didn't say anything. It's still more fun eating with my husband, yay. Unconsciously, I took my wife to the night market, a place I often came to after overtime work. Don't be fooled by the messy look, it's actually much better than those hotels, and the price is cheaper too. It wasn't until I sat at the roadside stall, at a table barely half a meter high, that I realized something was off. My wife, dressed in a trench coat, mid-length skirt and high heels, with her stunning beauty like a lotus flower emerging from water, and her tall, slender figure of over 1.7 meters was simply too eye-catching in this night market. And completely out of place, I took a napkin from the table and started wiping it down for my wife. A little awkwardly, I said, "This place doesn't look like much, but the Sichuan food is really authentic. The taste is incredibly delicious." My wife pulled up the hem of her trench coat and sat opposite me. She looked around curiously. When the boss brought out dish after dish of colorful and fragrant Sichuan cuisine, my mouth was almost watering. Beef and tripe in chili sauce, spicy chicken, sliced boiled pork, and fish with pickled cabbage. I devoured the food with rice. Looking up, I noticed my wife holding her chopsticks, looking a bit unsure how to proceed. Oops, I hadn't considered my wife's tastes, or maybe she just didn't like roadside stalls. I asked cautiously, "Is this food to your liking?" My wife nodded, "It's okay, no problem." Then she slowly started picking at the food. "The food is delicious, but the calories are too high. How long will I have to do yoga to burn it off? I'm gonna gain weight on my stomach. I've decided, tomorrow I'll only eat 2 meals. So that was what my wife was worried about. I cleared my throat, "Honey, you're too thin, eat a little more." Being too thin makes it harder to get pregnant. I usually speak without thinking at work, and only after saying it did I realize that this sentence could cause a misunderstanding. Looking up, my wife's cheeks were completely red. However, she started eating rice with the dishes. Throughout the meal, I didn't say another word. Just listening to my wife's inner thoughts was exciting enough. When we got home, my wife hung up her trench coat. "I'm gonna take a shower." I nodded. After showering, I'll put on that silken lace super short slip, then naturally walk in front of my husband and make a baby. My wife's inner voice shocked me completely. Looking over, my wife was completely expressionless, calmly walking into the master bedroom. I went to the bathroom outside to wash up. 5 minutes later, I finished washing my hair, taking a shower and brushing my teeth. I lay in bed scrolling through my phone. I was a little excited. Tonight might hold a historic breakthrough. Half an hour passed. An hour passed. The night was as quiet as falling snow in winter. I figured my wife must have gone straight to sleep after a shower. I turned off the light and hid under the covers. Another lonely and miserable night. In a daze, a soft, cold, slippery eel slid into the covers. I was startled. I turned on the bedside lamp. Our eyes met. We were both stunned. Having just stepped onto the stage, Fong Lorne, fortune favors the bold, so be brave, go for it. After hearing my wife's thoughts, I hadn't even had time to react. I was instantly drawn in by an alluring fragrance. Then our faces were close together. I could see Fong Lan shyly closing her eyes, clumsily making her move in the dim light, like an artistic Venus. She instantly ignited the misunderstandings that had been building up over the year. So this was the kind of life Fong Lan was. The temperature in the room gradually rose. I went to the mountain 3 times, making a contribution to the birth rate.